I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hello, mamas. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Before we get into things today, I want to just give a little update. I have been busy working on some amazing projects behind the scenes for all of you. I am going through a total rebrand. So I think by the time this podcast episode comes out, my new brand will be out there. We have a new website. We have new branding. We will be rolling that out for both of my programs, Mama to CEO and the Mastermind. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. I love the new brand. I've been playing around with all the different elements. We have been reformatting and updating the workbook that goes with Mama to CEO. It's beautiful. I can't wait for you to see it. And we have also been working on some new things. So I am writing a copybook for Mama to CEO, just an extra bonus for everybody who's a member. When that is done, you're going to get instant access to that digital copy. It's going to be beautiful as well. I'm writing it and formatting it and everything right now. And then I'm going to be working on the workbook that goes with my mastermind. I can't wait for all of you to have that. The next round of the mastermind is getting a copy of that workbook. And I think it's just going to be so helpful. I've been trying to take everything that's in my brain, both about scaling for the mastermind book and about writing copy for the copybook, and basically duplicate my brain and my coaching and my teaching all in written form so that it's always going to be there for you to access. I think that's going to be incredibly valuable to all of my students, all of you, and I can't wait to give you those gifts. I have also been working on a new offer. It is an event that is not like anything that I have ever done before, and details for that are going to be coming out next week. March 8th, if you're listening to this, the week that it comes out, it will be next week. It will be so amazing. It's happening later in March. This is an event that is all about time. I'm going to be teaching you about time in an in-depth way that I have never taught anywhere else. I'm going to be teaching really advanced techniques, really simple and powerful tools that I'm not seeing anybody else talking about or teaching. I was talking to my coach about this morning. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like anybody out there is talking about time in relation to parenting and business in the way that I am. I don't see anybody else with these kinds of ideas and concepts and tools that I use to manage my own time. I feel like every piece of advice about time out there is either for moms who are like home with kids or like in an office and then home with kids, or it's for entrepreneurs and business owners and like how to manage their time around their business. And there's nothing for those of us who are doing both at the same time, where we are managing family and kids and business and entrepreneurship and goals and all of it at the same time in the same place for many of us, especially right now during the pandemic. So this is pretty much the training that you've been waiting for. I feel like I have been begged to create this training, and I cannot wait to get it in your hands. It's going to be a live 3-day event. It's going to have a workbook. We're going to have a pop-up Facebook group. And then all of it is only going to be $7. you have never seen anything like this from me before or from anybody else. You're going to want to invite all of your friends. You're going to want to be there. You are going to want to show up live with your notebook every single day and with the workbook, the digital workbook that I'm going to be giving you every single day. So, information about buying your tickets will drop next week. I'm going to talk about it on the podcast next week as well. But just know this is coming. And if you're not on my email list, go to my website, hop on the email list. You want to be there. All right, let's get into today's topic. This is so exciting. So I haven't really shared this yet, but last month, I hit $1 million made in my business in a 12-month time. So February to February, like February 17th or something like that to the 17th or the 18th to the 17th, whatever. It doesn't matter. A 12-month period, $1 million made in revenue, in cash, in my business. And I wanted to make a podcast episode about this for a couple reasons. So I think all of you know I really like to share my story with all of you to inspire you, to show you what's possible, to be somebody who's talking about money in a culture that makes that wrong and shameful. I like to be an example. I like to be different and inspire you in that way. And really be somebody who's showing this is what moms are capable of. And then I think also as a business coach, for me, I think it's important for you to know what I'm producing in my business. I think that that is a helpful thing to know about your business coach, where they are in their business, what they're working on, what they're achieving. So I always like to share my own results, my own story. But my brain told me many stories about how 7 figures, $1 million in a year was very different than anything that I had ever done before. And I had a whole new series of thoughts about sharing it. So I really want to talk about both this achievement for me, what this means for you, and my whole experience becoming $1 million earner. And then I also want to talk to you about money mindset and how it creeps up in weird, unexpected places in your business, even when you think you've done the work on this. Okay, so the first thing, I was just thinking about this. I can't believe that this is even true, but literally like 4 years ago, slightly over 4 years ago, like 4 years and like a month ago, I started my business as a coach. Like as a life coach. I was a life coach for my first year. Can you believe that? Now I have $1 million business. I can't even believe it. Like, I think along the way, it felt like a really long time. And now I'm like, who the hell makes $1 million, like gets to $1 million business in a 4-year time frame, especially when that first year I made like $40. It boggles my mind still. I'm still sitting over here in awe about this. 4 years to $1 million business. So I think a lot of you know, when I started my business 4 years ago, I didn't believe that I could make $1 million. I actually didn't even believe I could make $100,000. That was not a part of how I thought about myself. That was not in my self-concept whatsoever. I would say when I started my business, I had like pretty solid belief that I could make $50K a year. And I was like, hey, if I can just figure out how to make $50K a year doing something that I love, that is it. Like that's all I care about. That is what I want to do. Mission accomplished if I do that. And then once I hit that, when I had my $42,000 year, pretty close to 50, that was around the time that I started to explore maybe $100,000 could be for me. Maybe I could do that. So then that next year, I actually set an impossible goal. One of my mentors at the time is really big on impossible goals. So I set an impossible goal of making $200,000. And I did $210,000 that year. And the next year after that, I was like, let's just go for 500. And I vastly passed that. And now I'm in this place where $1 million is already done, multi-millions is on the horizon, and I've just gradually increased my belief year by year. I have gotten more and more belief built up around my capacity for different things. So at the beginning, $1 million business was not on my radar because I wasn't even there with 100,000. And even then with the 100,000 and the 200,000, $1 million business, I was like, I don't need that. Like, I love making six figures. And I've just always sought growth. And because I have always gone after that growth, my revenue has grown a lot. That's how it works. Okay? It's not about the money. It's about the growth. It's about who you're helping. It's about the impact that you're having. It's about the movement that you are starting. And I think for all of you, once you hit that point where your basic needs are met, your wants are there, you're providing for yourself and your family, you get to this point where you need something bigger than yourself. And so for me, I really think about my constant striving for growth, and I also think about all of you and how I want everything that I have accomplished for myself for all of you. And I want to show all of you how to do exactly what I have done. I want to show all of you that whatever I achieve is for all of us. And I believe that to my core. I don't think that there are any of us who aren't capable of doing what I've done. You just have to be willing to do what I have done to get there, right? You have to do that work. You have to figure out how to make that work create the results that you want and fit into the life that you have. And you can all do that. That's a puzzle that you can all solve. All right. So I didn't really believe I could do it from the beginning. It was a gradual build. So I want you to all know that. You might be looking at my $1 million business and be like, that's not for me. I don't want that. I can't have that. That's just because of where you are right now. It doesn't actually mean that you can't have it. It doesn't actually mean that someday you won't want it. You probably will, especially if you hang out with me. So here's what I noticed. I hit this 7-figure milestone and I felt hesitant to share. I had this thought that sharing that I achieved this would be bragging. And I found it really weird because I have always shared, like I said before, I always have felt really comfortable to share. I've always felt like it was my duty to share. I've always wanted to inspire all of you with my accomplishments. And for some reason, this one felt different. And here's what I realized when I really dug in and really started thinking about this. I realized this. I always tell all of you that when you see someone else's accomplishment and you feel triggered, it means that you don't believe it's possible for you. And when you see it and you're inspired, it shows that you do believe it's possible for you. So whether you're triggered or inspired by somebody else's accomplishment shows your level of belief that you can do the same thing. I've noticed this so much recently with my friends. I've had friends who are accomplishing incredible things. My best friend, Kristen, she's been accomplishing incredible things, and I feel so excited and so inspired at every single thing, even if it's something I haven't done yet. And that's because I believe that it's all possible for me too. I believe that it's all happening for me too. So when I was hesitant to share, here's what I was really worried about. I was worried about triggering all of you and making you feel bad and making you feel like you couldn't do this too. And I realized that's literally the opposite of why I share. I share to show you that it's possible, to help you build that belief that it's possible. And so when I don't share, I don't help you build that belief. I keep you stuck in the place where you don't believe it's possible for you. So it made me feel so compelled to share my story, to just kind of pretty much get on here and start talking without much of an outline, because I want you to know that you can do this. So I had that realization. I decided, all right, I'm going to share. My assistant actually posted on my Instagram a post where I talked about making $1 million. And this was fascinating. After I had been coached myself, felt really good about sharing, someone commented on a couple of my posts attacking what I had written, attacking me for making money, attacking me for selling, helping you make money, and saying that I'm harmful, essentially. And it was so many of the fears that I had had about sharing written in somebody else's words. But I had already done the work on those things. So it was this really weird experience where it was like, oh, I used to be worried about those things. Now somebody's literally saying them to me, and it just seems so off the wall. It seems so silly and strange and just like really out there, and kind of sad that somebody is spending time attacking somebody else on the internet. It was such a strange experience. But I think it's important for everybody to know, like, this happens, right? Like, this is why we're afraid to show up and put ourselves out there and be visible. And it's very real. People will attack you. They will judge you. But it doesn't have to be something you internalize. It doesn't have to impact you. Like, truly, that didn't have to impact me at all. I didn't even have to read it. I could have just seen that it was negative and deleted it, right? So, that person aside, my fears aside, your doubts aside, I want you to know this. Everything I do is for all of us. This isn't just me. This isn't something that I'm able to accomplish because of like special traits or qualities or skills or employees or whatever your story is about why I can achieve this and you can't. It's not true. Making $1 million in your business comes down to math, to value, to service, to perseverance. You can make $1 million in a year too. And no matter where you are right now, you could have $1 million business in the next 4 years. I want that to really sink in. I want you to live in that possibility in your mind because I believe it for all of you. And if that's something you want, I want to help you get there. For those of you who are building up to that first 100K, if you are, really wanting 5K months, really wanting to get to 100K, Mama to CEO is where you belong. I created that program for you. And for those of you who are beyond that, who want to spend the next few years scaling to $1 million with me as your mentor, my mastermind is the right place for you. All right, mamas, I want you to sit with this for the rest of the week. No matter where you are right now, you could have $1 million business in 4 years. Have an amazing rest of your week. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.